Hi, everyone. My name is Shirley, and I want to tell you a story about my grandmother. The thing is that she is a real prankster, and this brought my family a lot of trouble. It is worth starting with the fact that Granny Nana has always been a joker as well as the life and soul of any party. When she was young, she caused a lot of trouble for her parents because of her jokes and peculiar humor. Later, she gladly made fun of my parents and then of me. While my parents did not approve of such frivolous behavior of an old lady from time to time, I was delighted with her. However, my story begins under not very good circumstances. One day, Grandma Nana went to the hospital because of a heartache. Although her health quickly improved, doctors were reluctant to discharge her. Granny was so bored that we decided to give her a smartphone with internet access. To our surprise, Nana quickly learned how to use modern technology and soon even began to contact us via video calls. When we were finally allowed to pick up my grandma, the doctor said that she was an incredibly positive person. According to him, she laughed all day and watched something on the phone. We were happy for my grandma because she was no longer bored. During the first days when Nana returned home, something happened that made us get cautious. One early morning when I was getting ready for school, I was standing by the mirror and doing my hair. When my grandma came into my room, she greeted me with a smile, but then her face turned almost pale with horror. In a low, frightening voice, she asked me to stand still. Then my grandma told me that a large centipede was in my hair. I was terribly afraid of these bugs, so after hearing what my grandma said, I completely lost control. I started panicking and screaming loudly. I stopped only when I saw my grandma laughing out loud. Then I immediately realized that she was making a bad joke, and then I got very angry. Before, she did not allow herself to make such stupid jokes. However, this was not the hardest ordeal that day. When I came to school, one of my classmates suddenly froze and pointed a finger at me. He was screaming that I had a huge centipede in my hair. At that moment, I thought that such a coincidence just couldn't happen and began to ruffle my hair again. The rest of my classmates started laughing and filming me. I bought into this joke again. Burning with the shame and bewilderment, I ran away from school telling the teacher that I wasn't feeling well. This coincidence really shocked me. At home, I checked my hair once again for the presence of a terrible bug. But as you've already guessed, there was no centipede in it. For me, this day was already completely ruined. But my parents had good news and had dinner. They said that my grandmother's condition had significantly improved. She became more cheerful and completely stopped complaining about her health. For several weeks, it had been quiet in the house as Grandma began to go out more often, and her craving for pranks became less intense. However, that soon changed when we received a letter about a lawsuit. From it, we learned with horror that my grandma was about to be presented with a large fine for causing moral damage. In defense, Nona said that there was a misunderstanding and one person on the street did not like her joke. My parents were so angry that they forbade Grandma to go out until the trial. None of us could understand what was going on with Grandma, but her oddities just increased after house arrest. It was like a ghost had settled in our house. Something disappeared from their places and appeared in other rooms. The digital clock was constantly acting up and showing the wrong time. Sometimes the TV set would suddenly turn on. It scared me and my parents terribly, but my grandma behaved in an unusually quiet manner and did not seem to notice the chaos happening around us. Once, when I was rushed to turn off the TV again, I noticed something that I did not expect to see at all. Behind the stairs leading to the second floor, my grandma was hiding with the TV remote in her hands and her smartphone camera turned on. Being confused, I started talking to her. Nona immediately put the phone away and quickly went to the second floor to her room. While coming to my senses after the shock, I immediately decided to have a serious talk with Grandma, but she pretended not to understand what it was all about. I was overwhelmed with anger because Nona had gone too far with her jokes. I immediately went to tell my parents everything, but their reaction shocked me. My parents just didn't believe me. They said that my grandmother was already too old for such jokes. They argued that after she started having heart problems, she had more serious concerns than jokes. When I began proving otherwise, I made the situation even worse. Now my parents suspected me of organizing all the stupid pranks. Then I decided to watch my grandma and catch her red-handed. For several days in a row, I've been trying to follow her, but did not notice anything suspicious. However, strange things were continuing to happen in the house. My parents, thinking I was behind this, scolded me for what I had never done. The situation got to the point where I was threatened with house arrest if I did not stop the pranks. This made me so mad that I seized the moment and stole my grandma's phone to prove I was right. What I saw on the smartphone almost made me speechless. There were recorded all the strange things happening in our house, along with our reaction to them. I also found a video where I was gripped by panic while rifling through my hair in search of the centipede. This was all set up by Nana, and she posted it on the internet. I immediately rushed to my parents and showed them everything. Then we found her other pranks on social media. It turned out that the entire World Wide Web had been laughing at our family for several weeks. After seeing this, my mother could not hold it in, so she started crying out of frustration and resentment. We also found a video where my grandma, pretending to be a helpless old lady, unexpectedly frightened people. Some of them were laughing at this, while others didn't like her jokes at all. There was also a man who, out of fright, sat down right on the sidewalk, clutching his heart. Later, it became known that this was the same man who sued Nana. After that, my parents were talking with my grandma for a very long time. She said that she just wanted to cheer people up, but my parents did not accept this excuse. My grandmother eventually realized that she was wrong. She got really upset because of the fact that her jokes led to such serious consequences. During the next few days, we did not speak to my grandma at all. We were very upset with her behavior, and my parents had to pay a considerable fine to the man who had a heart attack. When my vacation was over, I went to school and heard a lot of offensive jokes about my family. All of my classmates saw my grandma's pranks, even though we deleted them all from popular social media. It was just impossible to communicate with my classmates, and I could hardly concentrate on my studies. My parents also faced situations when some colleagues were laughing at them. My grandma's pranks made our life so much more difficult, but most of all, she hurt herself. We no longer believed a single word that she said, and it played a cruel joke on her. One day, she complained that she had a heartache. She said it with a strange smile, and in her hand she was holding a brand new smartphone, which she apparently secretly bought herself on an online store. My mom got angry and took her phone away, saying that she had enough of her pranks. Grandma continued to smile and complain of chest pains, but we no longer believed her. Only when she sat down on the sofa out of exhaustion did we realize that she was not joking. Dad immediately called an ambulance, and Grandma was taken to the hospital. Doctors said that she almost had a heart attack, and they barely managed to save her. As it turned out, the smile was unknown as face appeared because of muscle spasms. She tried to call an ambulance using her smartphone, but nothing came of it. We suddenly felt really ashamed of the situation, so we decided to apologize to my grandma. But to our surprise, Nona apologized to us herself. She realized that she was to blame for everything. Also, my grandma promised to never do pranks again, so as not to harm anyone else. Have you ever come across pranksters? Give your answers in the comments, click on the thumbs up button below the video, and share it with your friends.